Indefinite relative clause, oh, don't be scared by that. Basically what this is saying is it's going to have a relative pronoun in it, and there's going to be something indefinite about the whole clause. And here's an example in Matthew 20:27. Whoever wants to be first among you must first be your slave, or I must be your slave. This subjunctive use of the thelo verb with this relative pronoun plus this particle on, and those are the clues that you're going to look at for that this is an indefinite relative clause. And its on is rarely translated, but if it does, they usually come out with some kind of ever, whoever. In this case, that's where they chose to do. Just a further emphasis of the relative pronoun there. Okay? Indefinite temporal clause. This is an interesting use in Galatians 3:19. I looked up this today because I was concerned about this "oo," and as it turns out, from at least some of the translators say that "oo" belongs to later in a sentence. It's a little out of place there, but as you read through the sentence, Paul was talking about the law added because of the transgressions until the arrival, the coming of the descendant Tasperma, to whom it is promised, to whom the promise is made. So the clue that you're dealing with this temporal adverb is this akris, this word until. And that's going to help to establish how this subjunctive is being used. Indefinite temporal clause, what's called the temporal conjunction, where Paul says in 2 Corinthians 12:10, "For whenever I am weak, then I am strong." Only one subjunctive here used. The for whenever I am weak, and this dunatos is actually an adjective. And again, you see the conditional idea in there is why he's choosing the subjunctive here. And this otan is a relative pronoun which is helping you to establish that this is just one temporal clause. Page 30. Imperative mood.
One of my favorite moods. When I had kids.
And chart 12, which is on this Greek charts page, is we use for looking at the structure. Imperative is used for commands and exhortations. Some examples, but these are pretty much self-explanatory. Jesus says in Matthew 5:42, "Give to the one who asks you." Some translations say, "Give to the one who begs of you." All right. The simple You know, the imperative use there, as we would use in English, as a command.
No first-person imperatives.
Huh?
No first-person imperatives.
Oh,
There are languages that have them.
yeah. That's for the people who are schizophrenic, I suppose. 1 Thessalonians 5:19 is an example of a negative imperative. Do not extinguish, do not quench, put out the Spirit. And again, outside of the indicative mood, you're going to find this may showing up as a negative particle all the time. That's what that is for. But imperatives are also used for things that we wouldn't expect. We wouldn't expect a command coming from this person because it's from an inferior to a superior. Entreaties and petitions also can be imperative. And here's an example of that in Mark 9:22. These words are coming from the demons, from Legion, and they're saying, Jesus. No, I'm sorry. No, this is the wrong example. This is coming from the father of one of a person needing healing. That's what it is. And he says, if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And that word help there is imperative. And this is again another example of how the translators they don't always make it clear. This word, have compassion on us, is participle. It seems to have the same weight as the verb here. Luke 17:5. The apostle said to the Lord, increase our faith. This was a command. This was an imperative. So again, this is an aspect of how it's an entreaty, a strong request from an inferior to a superior. So just because it's imperative doesn't mean that you're dealing with the superior to the inferior. John 17:11. Jesus, praying to the Father, says, speaking of us, when he's praying for us in his high priestly prayer, keep them in your name. Okay?
Now, imperatives are always the main verb in a sentence? I guess not. I mean, because when we lay them out.
There are occasions when an imperative may be part of a quote within a sentence.
Okay.
But it's going to be always the main verb of that particular clause.
Okay.
This is the example with the demons. I knew it was coming up. The demons were telling Jesus, send us into the herd of pigs. Now they're not commanding him, but this is how another example of how an imperative can be used. Jesus saying,